Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
MashaAllah, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. Hope you guys are well. So I'm back with another one for you guys. I am looking at a channel here by the name of White Muslim Guy. And the title of the video is How Dating Woke Women Led Me to Islam. So it seems that we are dealing with a revert brother who had some experiences with dating before perhaps he will revert to Islam. So it would be interesting to see or hear what the guy has to say. Let's check it out. Let me full screen this.
I used to think Muslims were crazy for jumping into marriage without dating or having 2 or more wives. But after having dozens of Western girlfriends, I converted to Islam. I'm White, 38 from the United States, and in this video, I'll share with you why one of the biggest things that pushed me over the edge to Islam was dating woke/feminist/Western women. Now, fair warning, if you are a feminist type woman, you're not going to like this video, so there's really no point in you watching.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, dating woke, feminist, Western women, that must be a tough experience, I think, you know. I mean, not the easiest of women to deal with. And I mean, I don't mean to offend. Well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to offend, but I don't mean to offend anyone or any women specifically. I know they can get a bit sensitive. But I mean, as one who is perhaps more conservative, you know, on the Islamic side of things, and from what I've heard and what I know, what I see on social media about these types of women, I can only imagine what a tough ask it must have been to be dealing with these type of women. Anyway.
When I grew up, my grandfather, who was a very traditional man from Tennessee, taught me and instilled values in me, things like treat women with respect, always open the door for them, always talk to their father and show their father respect, wait until marriage for sex. These are things that, as a Christian traditional man, were instilled in me. And so I honestly just thought that that was how the world was going to work in the United States. But when I grew up and I got out into the dating world, I realized, no, that's not how things work. Because as much as I wanted to treat a woman like that, I also wanted to be treated with respect as well. And before I was Muslim, I had at least a dozen, probably more, serious relationships. Some were 6 months, some were 3 or 4 years, and these were with your standard United States Western woman. And a fair share of them would be what you would consider feminist, somewhat feminist, woke, whatever. And I remember even when I got along with a woman, even when there was no like conflict, there was still a mismatch in values. For instance, there was one girl I dated who was very nice. She was an amazing person, but she constantly wanted to go out to lunch with other men, even wanting to go on trips with other men and share a hotel. And when
I seriously don't know how men deal with it. I mean, perhaps I'm more on the conservative side, on the traditional side of things, where I don't allow my women to, they don't work as in traditional or standard 9-to-5 jobs, right? So, of course, in those type of atmospheres, there's a high chance that your women folk are going to be dealing or interacting with other men. And I mean, this is one aspect of the work culture that is so negative, you know, free mixing. And we hear all kinds of stories about, you know, wives and husbands interacting with other wives and husbands or single people. And it becomes very toxic. And yeah, that type of culture is very, very sad, I would say. And yeah, I know the standard liberal man would then say, but that's normal. That's part of modern Western culture. Men and women interact, and you know, in the workplace and elsewhere. You know, nothing too hectic about it. But you know, Islam has this idea that no, this will eventually lead to something, and you know, I see it as whether you're going to be going out for a friendly coffee date, or maybe it's just even a professional meeting. Give it enough time, and men and women will start to interact a bit more sus, you know. And I mean, perhaps it's not happening to you, or it's not happening to your wife or husband or someone. These things are very prevalent, you know. I mean, it's all over social media, And we've heard a few stories here or there. So, I mean, my preference is obviously I I do the working. I'm in control of who I interact with. I can't expect that from my women folk when they are out in the workplace. So I'd rather keep them at home and, ensure that they are cocooned and covered by their homes. And I can tell you this much is that they certainly appreciate it. So, I mean, that's for the traditional woman, I'd say. But nonetheless, it comes with a type of guidance and molding in order for them to grasp hold of this type of culture that you're promoting, which is for me, keeping them at home, not interacting with men, cocooning them within their comforts within the home. So, yeah.
Let's say things like, wait a minute, you're going to go on a trip with another man who you claim is your friend. You're going to stay in the same hotel with him to save money, and you think I should be okay with this? And the response to this situation and situations like it was always the same. Well, don't you trust me? Why are you so insecure? At the time, I was not Muslim. I was agnostic/atheist. I wasn't religious at all. But I still understood the simple point of respect. Like, imagine for a moment I said, hey, I'm going to go on a trip. I'm going to bring a girl. We're going to stay in the same hotel room, and you should be okay with that. If I said that to a woman, her eyes would fly out of her head and start swinging around and slapping me in the friggin' face. It would be like The Exorcist. And so not only is there that complete double standard, and by the way, if you think there isn't, you're lying to yourself. There absolutely is. But it's a matter of respect. It doesn't matter, and this is what I thought at the time, and my mindset was like, it doesn't matter if I think that no matter what happens, you will not cheat. What matters is the fact that you would even ask me that. It's a respect thing. It's a matter of decorum. It's a matter of class. It's a matter of simply there are certain things in life you do not do. You do not go out with other men and stay at hotels, and you don't slap your grandma. Like, there's just like a list, of things you don't do. And I'll be honest, at first I thought these women were crazy. But then I started letting it get in my head because, these women, it would be the same story over and over and over again. Like, oh, you're insecure. Why don't you trust me? I started to believe that maybe I was the problem. Like, maybe I really did have insecurity issues, or I really did have trust issues. Even though the reality of the situation was, over the course of human history, 99.999% of it in any culture, in any time period, from any race of people would be considered horrifying for a woman to do. But in this little blip, this little teeny sliver as thin as this piece of paper here of time, in one section of culture, is now for some reason considered okay to do.
That's exactly the case. That's exactly what if I'm in conversation with people, I always make a reference to history and biology and these types of objective truths or facts that should make sense. But for some reason, the social culture is so ingrained within people that they just can't understand. Like the brother is saying, it's only within this very tiny, tiny, tiny part of history that women have these types of freedoms, all right? And the word freedom is just, I'll quote unquote it because it doesn't, it's not actually freedom. It's I would see it as abuse. I mean, and degeneracy. Because like the brother is saying, nowhere in history did women or didn't women have this type of quote unquote freedom, and being where the man is also being told that he's insecure or that he's off the rails for feeling this type of way, feeling this ghira, this jealousy, this protectiveness over his woman. And I mean, and if it is that a man has lost that, I think men of the past would just look at you and you'd be a laughing stock. You'd be considered a low life within that group of men, because I mean, men of the past were strong. They were cultured in a way where they would protect their women. I mean, men would go to war to protect their village, their women folk, their children. And for this type of liberal interaction between man and woman in the current modern age it looks pathetic if it is, and I mean, from a traditional sense also, if you really put yourself in a traditional frame of mind, combined with understanding what history looks like and the biological nature of a man and a woman, and it all looks really stupid. It looks really weird. So I understand.
And so when I finally found Islam and started looking into it, I read a verse that just really struck me, and it was, marriage is half your religion. And it made me realize that, look, a big part of life is getting married and having a family. It's the foundation in which you build your whole life on top of, because every day you wake up with that person, you care for the child that you had with that person, you will die for that person, you will work, every penny that you make as a man, everything that you do is to support your family. It's to build the dream life so that your wife doesn't have to work, your kid doesn't have to worry. If they get sick, you have money to help them. If their family has issues, you have money to help them. These are things that you think about as a man. And so for me, it's like, dude, you're really gonna disrespect me when I'm going to war for you every day? No. And this is why the divorce rate is so high in America. And by the way, 80% of divorces in America are initiated by the women. Men, actually, we tend to stick it out, but we're unhappy because we get no respect. And again, I'm not talking about every woman. I'm just talking about the average Western woman. We get no respect. And then when we get no respect, obviously we're not as loving and caring because we're being beat down to death every day with disrespect. And so then the woman decides, well, I'm not happy. I don't feel good today. I don't feel good about my marriage, so I'm going to file a divorce. And the thing in Islam is, it doesn't matter how you feel. You work on the marriage, right? You work on it. And I don't remember where it was, but in Islam, Quran, Hadith, something, it said that conflict is okay in marriage as long as you practice how you react to it. And so in America, if there's conflict, all of a sudden, divorce, usually initiated by the woman. And then, of course, the man has no protection. He gets half his house gone, all that. Whereas in Islam, there's protection for the man, right? And so as I started looking into this, I thought, okay, Islam focuses on marriage being a big deal. It's serious. Divorce is highly, highly discouraged. It requires modesty of both partners. Your wife can't be going out dressed like a hooker or having lunch with other men or whatever. You can't be doing that either, bro. You can't be doing that either. It encourages massive, massive respect between the two people. And I'm sorry, let me just say this right now. If you are from the West, you have to understand that 50 years ago, if a woman dressed like most women dress today, any person walking down the street would think she was a prostitute. They would look at her and go, oh, that's clearly a hooker. They would. But now all of a sudden you fast forward 50 years, it's liberating, it's feminist. It's like, no, you still look like a hooker. You just, all your friends look like hookers, so they don't judge you because they're all acting like hookers as well. That's the only thing that's changed. And so and look, no offense, if you want to dress like a hooker, dress like a hooker. But I don't want to marry you. And I shouldn't have to marry you. And it shouldn't be normalized that I should have to marry you. And
just on that, increasingly so, that men prefer that a woman don't dress like this. Despite what women think themselves, they think that men are impressed by this, but men are not. They have a different idea about it, yes. They have a different idea about it in the sense that, if it is a man that's a little bit loose about himself, where, if he looks good, dressing like this, then he'd want to engage with that. He'd want to satisfy himself with that. He would catcall her and be derogatory about it, most probably, right? Or he would stare very creepily. That's a word, creepily. Very creepy. So, but in general, men don't really want the women folk to be dressing like this. I mean, I even cringe when I see fathers letting their daughters have such short shorts and skirts and what have you. That is really, I don't know, that's off the charts. I mean, what would their great grandfathers would have, if their great grandfathers, great grandfathers, if they had to see the lineage and line becoming these types of people, where women folk are dressing in this type of way, then I think they'd fall back into their graves type of thing.
I shouldn't be considered insecure because I don't want to marry you. This is not difficult to understand. When I came to Islam, I thought this has everything I need as a man. It encourages respect. It has a blueprint for marriage. Divorce rate is low. And also, I'm normal here. I'm a normal person in Islam. If I say, hey, I'm not going to go out with other women and you're not going to go out with other men, we're together. And Muslim women, at least any that I know, would never balk at that. They would never dispute that. They'd be like, yeah, of course I'm not going to go hang out with another man. If you've watched me on Instagram, I have 2 wives. And no, I didn't do that immediately upon converting to Islam. I was Muslim for 3 years before I got married again. And as well, when you live in America, you get to have way more than 4 girlfriends if you want. It's not, there's no incentive to convert to Islam to have more women. You get more women when you're not Muslim. I digress. The point is that both would never even dream of going out and having lunch with another man. Wouldn't even enter their minds. It wouldn't even be a thought. And so these are things that led me to Islam because they just made more sense and they're a better way to live. And if you're considering Islam, maybe you're from the West, maybe you're an American or whatever, British, and you're just sick and tired of the dating dynamics or even the marriage dynamics. You're like, this is not a way to live. You've been with, talked to, dated, even married multiple women, and it's the same story over and over again. You're the problem. You're insecure. You don't trust me. You're a misogynist. You're this, you're that. Guys, there's a simple solution, okay? And it's not just a solution to your married relationship life. It's a solution to problems with drugs, alcohol, finances. I mean, my life has completely changed since converting to Islam. No debt, no drugs or alcohol, no hanging out late at night at bad places, no like fornication with women that'll get you into trouble because the cops get called at 3 a.m. because this or that, or weird stuff going on. Like none of that, dude. It's just peace. The word Islam means peace. So consider it. Ask yourself for a moment, if you had a blueprint to live life, and that blueprint solved all the problems that you had in your life. It literally addressed all the pain points you had.
So I'm going to stop there with the video, but yeah, this guy has definitely got the ball rolling. And I think this is my appeal too to the Western man. Like, put aside your prejudices, your biases, and whatever, fog blocking you from truly looking at things. And I mean, I get it. Social media is one way. The news is one way. There's so many things that fogs your mind in terms of seeing alternative paths for yourselves. But Islam is one of the, well, I'd say the only way of life that gives this type of detailed means to go about everything, and specifically with women. And because men love women so much, and courtship and relationships are important between both genders, men require that type of fulfillment, just as a woman requires fulfillment from a man. This is very important, and Islam, like I said, has this detailed aspects that helps in almost every way. So, I mean, it's I could shout from the rooftops, consider Islam, Western man, consider Islam. It will lead you to the right type of women. It will clear so many things. You'll see what a conservative, homebound, traditional woman would look like if it is you look at the right places. I mean, this doesn't negate the fact that even within the Muslim community, in Muslim culture, Islamic Islamic communities, there are of those feminists, there are of those leaning towards the Western lifestyle and Western ideologies creeping into the Islamic community. So, I mean, those are there, but for general sake, for the most part, I think tapping into Islam as a Western man, a non-Muslim Western man, tapping into Islam would be a breath of fresh air. So inshallah, I'd leave it there. If you enjoyed this video, consider a like and keep subscribing. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.